now we cut to the crowd of screeching women, exactly the kind of fans I'd expect at this show.
Yeah, either they're die-hard wrestling fans or someone just announced a sale on perms and shoulder pads.
Are these the same women who appeared on the Donahue show? You know, the ones who think I'm the perfect mix of heartthrob and tax adjuster.
Honestly, I'm still trying to figure out, are you a heartthrob or a substitute math teacher? Because you look at just as comfortable stealing hearts as you do explaining long division.
That's right, son. They say you'll sweep them off their feet and then audit their feelings right after.
Hey, I'll take it. Whether I'm solving for X or winning over the fans, it's all in a day's work.
While my son is doing math, he's always counting the gate and somehow getting screwed every single time.
I mean, this guy's still living in his dad's basement. At this rate, his best financial strategy is just hoping Vern remembers to buy groceries.
Hey, some of us are strategic thinkers, all right? Besides, those basement stairs keep me in shape.
Going back to the last match, this is just a very brief stop for Barry Windham between his WWF stint and the real highlights of his career, like going up against Ric Flair for the NWA title and later joining the Four Horsemen.
Yeah, it was quite the spectacle. Barry Windham trying to pour out a quality work rate in the Metrodome while the crowd acted like they're accidentally wandered into the wrong event.
Barry's wrestling like it's WrestleMania, and the fans are sitting there like, do they validate parking here?
Meanwhile, Mike Rotondo will later head to Mid-South and then on to WCW as part of the Varsity Club.
Because nothing screams tough wrestler like a gimmick that makes you look like you're pledging a fraternity. What's next? Cake stands in the ring?
And now our next match features Bulldog Bob Brown versus Giant Baba. If you were hoping they'd pair Bulldog with someone who could carry him to a decent match, think again.
This isn't a wrestling bout, it's a slow motion contest to see who can make the crowd yawn first.
Yeah, if this match were any slower, they'd have to broadcast it in time lapse just to keep people awake.
Here comes Giant Baba, who only knows how to do the Russian leg sweep, but somehow everything he does is absurd.
It's like he's wrestling in a parallel universe where physics and logic decided to take the night off.
And now after Ricky Dozen retired, the torch was passed to Inoki and Baba, and they were a huge babyface tag team back in the day. Later, the Japan Pro Wrestling Organization split and they formed separate offices. New Japan and All Japan, which became rival promotions for decades.
True legends of the sport, but tonight Baba looks more like he's carrying the torch for whatever the opposite of excitement is.
And here comes former Central States champion Bulldog Bob Brown, looking like he just fell off the stool.
Yeah, and judging by his energy, nap time might have run a little long backstage.
Let's not forget, though, the Central States territory had some history with the AWA. It was kind of a training ground for the NWA back then, and that's where Shawn Michaels and Marty Jannetty first met. They later came to the AWA as a tag team for their first post-Central States shot.
Bulldog Bob Brown. Though he's no rocker, the bell sounds and here we go. Brown looks like he's dressed for a match on the Dumont Network in 1956.
All we're missing is the announcer saying, brought to you by Ovaltine, because even wrestlers need their vitamins.
Test of strength to start. Nope, we get a lockup instead. The lumbering Giant Baba takes over with a double wrist lock, a chop, and a rake.
And then, what might be the highlight of the match, Baba just sits on the middle rope, completely motionless. It's like he's trying to figure out if he left the oven on back home.
Meanwhile, Bulldog Bob Brown is doing, well, not much either. This is shaping up to be a masterclass in slow motion wrestling.
And Bob and Brown are working at a very, very slow pace. It's exactly what this crowd needed if they were looking for an excuse to check their watches.
Stimulating is not the word I'd use, Vern, because at this rate, the crowd's going to start asking for refunds on their excitement. At this rate, the match might actually finish before the concession line does. And that's being optimistic.
If you strip away the aura and the larger-than-life persona Giant Baba still has when performing in Japan, well, even around this time, he's starting to dial it down and become, an opening match guy.
Yeah, he's already become an opening act, a nostalgia act, really. The kind of guy people cheer for because they vaguely remember him from when TV only had 3 channels.
There's Bulldog Bob Brown. He's the least capable guy of making something out of Giant Baba in 1986.
It's like asking a bricklayer to paint the Mona Lisa. It's completely out of his skill set. All you're going to get is a mess.
Bob Brown drops into a double wrist lock and adds a head scissors, exactly what these people came to see, because nothing gets a crowd going like the kind of action that feels straight out of a 1950s instructional wrestling video. And now Baba's sitting on the middle rope again, making faces, while Bob Brown pretends to grab his throat. It's just awful.
I mean, they're acting like this is high drama, but it's really just low energy.
If they're trying to set the bar for bad wrestling, congratulations. They've cleared it with room to spare.
Yeah, this is like improv night gone horribly wrong. You can practically hear them thinking, what do we do now?
More massive feedback coming from one of the house speakers. At this point, it's less a wrestling event and more an experimental noise concert.
Well, at least the speakers are putting in some effort. Can't say the same for this match.
Irish whip and a chop to the chest by Baba. And look at Bob Brown sell it. He's covering his mouth with the crook of his elbow, like he's about to sneeze or cough, and wants to be polite about it.
Who knew wrestling could double as a public health PSA? Cover your mouth, kids, even when you're selling a chop.
You know, it's a rough outing when the announcer starts focusing on the ref because there's so little to say about the wrestlers.
Yeah, pretty soon we'll be getting a detailed history of the ref's career highlights. Did you know he once counted a 3 without hesitation? Riveting stuff.
Brown goes to the eyes, biting Baba, and then the speakers chime in with even more feedback, because apparently this match isn't just an assault on wrestling fans. It's a full-scale attack on your eardrums too.
At this point, they might as well hand out earplugs at the door. It's like I thought, you know what would make this match better? Audio pain.
I mean, with everything gone wrong here, you really have to wonder, what was Verne Gagne thinking? Wasn't he horrified by these production issues, or was he just wandering around backstage trying to figure out why the coughing machine wasn't working?
Knowing my dad, he probably thought this was fine. Feedback, slow pacing, empty seats, perfect. Let's keep it rolling.
Knowing myself, I was probably holding 2 cables together with one hand and stirring my coffee with the other. Multitasking at its finest.
The ref does nothing about Bulldog Bob Brown's blatant eye gouging, and then he follows it up with a snapmare. Real cutting-edge offense here.
Then Baba sidesteps a leg drop attempt, if you can call it that, but Brown completely misses it. And now he's rallying with chops to the head, an Irish whip, and another chop.
But this time Brown finds it in himself to hit the mat in the center of the ring, and Baba follows with his signature side Russian leg sweep.
Yeah, calling it signature feels generous. Baba's side Russian leg sweep looks so clumsy. It's like watching a building collapse in slow motion. The only thing fouling here is the credibility of this match.
And let's be honest, Giant Baba is so frail, it's horrifying. Just take a look at him. He looks like he's one sneeze away from being a cautionary tale for health and wellness.
Giant Baba is the human equivalent of a bruised banana, soft, squishy, and looking like he's been through way too much. One wrong move, and he's practically peeling himself out of the match.
Irish whip, boot to the chest, and that's the 1, 2, 3. Giant Baba defeats Bulldog Bob Brown.
This match was a disaster. It was slow, awkward, and Baba wrestled like someone who forgot what wrestling was halfway through.
And the crowd, they had no idea who these guys were. And honestly, I don't blame them. It's a Japanese guy versus a Central States guy in front of an AWA crowd. Why would anyone care?
They didn't care, Vern. The crowd was basically asking themselves if they'd wandered into a wrestling match by accident while looking for a place to nap.